another episode of Ask the Wizard, streaming live almost daily. Purposefully introducing imbalances. It's almost a requirement if you want to go. Starting a 5-minute timer now. See you soon.
Making up a bar queen on the phone in the great big boulevard, the place she belongs. It's just another story she tells. Have you ever felt you're missing the dream? Have you ever wished your life was like the movie on the screen, filled with heartbreaks and fights through Hollywood nights, through Hollywood nights, through Hollywood nights.
Hey, how's everyone doing today? Russ here, Ask the Wizard, almost daily. What are we going to talk about today, Russ?
Well, today we're going to talk about balance and actually imbalance. And as you've mentioned when we were talking about the show, the criticalness of purposely introducing imbalance into the system to initiate growth, which is really, I'm curious about that, because I thought the whole purpose of pretty much everything on your spiritual journey is to restore balance. Things are out of balance, so you need to restore balance. And now you're suggesting that we have to, if we want to grow, now introduce an imbalance. I'm looking forward to hearing what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. You know what's important to remember is there's always more than one right answer. And this often trips us up because I find anyway, in our society, we're incessantly looking for the answer, like the right answer, the one right answer. And then we figure, okay, once I've got the one right answer, well, I guess now I don't have to ask the question. Oh, this is really good. Now I don't have to ask the question anymore because I have the answer. And so there are certain aspects of your experience where there are imbalance. I mean, with Reiki, for instance, if you look at it in a nutshell, what essentially in a Reiki treatment is, you find the imbalance and you restore balance. So if there is an issue, I'll use that word, it often the root cause is an imbalance in your energy. You balance your energy, everything's good. So now I'm suggesting that you have to introduce imbalance. And both are right. It's understanding the two different roles that they play. And I think that's the thing that is, sorry, my machine's doing weird things. This one it just is weird. Anyway, this is the aspect I want to talk about. So, you know, the thing I just talked about, imbalances, restore balance, all that kind of thing, that's 100% true, right? And we're always going to be doing that. In the beginning, when you start that journey, I find there's a lot of work with that. And maybe that's the thing. In the beginning, it's like you're preparing yourself, like you're building a foundation that you can then launch from. And a lot of that has to do with finding, discovering, being aware of those imbalances, and then again, using whatever means, restoring balance. So maybe this is step 2. Understanding step 1 doesn't go away, right? It's not this truth, then this truth. Both are true, just applied in different ways. Anyway, without further ado, let's just go to Mr. Flipchart. Okay, so this is you. Right here. Your soul, your spirit, your I am, right? Let's see, let's do this. Okay. This is your physical world. Or another way. Oh, stop that. Another way to look at this is your external. Right? This is non-physical. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is you can't see it. Hey, Gary, how you doing, buddy? You can't see it. So this is a mic. You can see it. You can feel it, right? When I say non-physical, all I mean is you don't directly experience it with your 5 senses. It doesn't mean it's not just as real. So, for instance, a thought, a memory. When you visualize something, right? That's very real. But you can't, put it in a cup, right? And that's one of the first things I learned along this journey was in each moment, there's the physical and the non-physical. Both are just as important and both are just as real. All right, so here we are. Now, I'm actually going to erase this. I'm going to abbreviate this just so we have it as a reference. And so I call it this. Non-physical and physical. So what happens is our being, right, is always in the process of restoring balance. So when there's balance here, there's balance here, and we have balance, right? Everything's fine. As things balance here, you see the outcome of it, or the results of that balancing here. That's all 100% true. I find that there comes a point in time where now we're ready to purposely grow. So when I first started working out many years ago, the first little while you didn't have a lot of weight on the machines. You were getting used to the movements. You were getting your body used to the movements. You started with low weight just to kind of, find out is there any areas in my body that I need to treat differently. You're just kind of feeling your way along. You're getting balanced, right? You're getting that foundation. And once you had that, once you had the technique down, once you had all this type of stuff down, now you could really start to focus on growth, which interestingly enough fits perfectly with this example that I'm talking about with this map right here. Is now that we have the foundation, now we're going to grow. And often the initial catalyst for growth happens here. It happens in our non-physical. There's a shift in our awareness. There's a desire. There's desire for something different out here, right? So a desire, where's a desire birthed? The desire is birthed in the non-physical, right? You may have that catalyst out here, I guess you would say, or you may say, oh, that's cool. I'd like to do this. I'd like to be this. I'd like to do this. But when we make that choice, when we internalize that desire, it actually starts here. What happens when we do that? Especially if it's something more than just sort of a daydream. Oh, that would be really cool. Oh, that'll never happen, but that'd really be a cool thing about it. When you make that decision internally that this is what I want to achieve. I want to have this growth. I want to go forward. I want to move, right? When you make that decision, I think that's a really good definer there. Is you've got these thoughts, that's fun. And then when you go, I want this, I desire this. When you make that decision, what you're actually doing is you're taking this and this, which is all balanced, and now you're moving this up to here. And what you have done is you have now introduced an imbalance, haven't you? You see, because before, everything's just the way it is, all smooth, la-da-da, and you decided, I want this. When you make that decision, you're actually, as I said, you're introducing an imbalance in the system. When I was working out, that's exactly what I was doing. When you would put more weights on, when you would do more reps, whatever, what you're actually doing is introducing an imbalance into the system. What you're actually doing in many ways is you're actually damaging, right? You're tearing the muscles, which is why the rest period in nutrition, topic for a totally another story, is so important when you want to build muscle mass. Is because the workout, you're actually damaging, if you will, the muscles. And then through nutrition and through rest, your muscles repair that, for lack of a better term, and that's how they get stronger and that's how they get bigger. So you're actually introducing imbalance into the system in order to grow. They call it a plateau. Many of you have probably used that, that term in other areas of your life. So you'd be working out and you would hit that plateau where you just weren't growing anymore. You weren't seeing any change. And so you would need to change something up. You need to introduce an imbalance, change up the way you worked out, change up this, change up that, change up this. You're actually shocking your system. Now, when you do that, you're gonna notice it. To use my working out days, I remember you always knew when you had a good shoulder day, working out shoulders, when you had a heck of a time taking your t-shirt off at the end of the workout, or on a leg day and you're walking up the stairs, or worse yet, down the stairs. It was like every step was like, ow. Oh, ow. But like every step was also, ow, yes, I'm doing it. I'm making a difference, introducing change. And you can apply that in many other areas, I'm sure, of any skill. In this case here, it's in our own spiritual growth, our own personal growth. So when you introduce this, this is where you introduce that imbalance. And as I said, you're going to feel it. See, this is why so often, it's been a while now, but when I was teaching, especially if somebody was brand new to that genre, we'll call it that, they would start a, I don't know, meditative practice. They would start a self-healing practice. They would learn some new skills, things like that. And then things would start to go a little bit haywire out here, right? And things were going pretty smooth, you know, or maybe a few little things. And so they would start, I'm going to do this, got to fix this, going to bring, you know, peace and all that kind of stuff. And when they started to do that, it actually appeared to get worse. And they would go, well, what am I doing wrong? Because it should be getting better, not worse, right? Well, yes, in a bizarre way, it is getting better. And because you're seeing disruptions out here is a perfect validation that you're growing in here. And so by purposely introducing that, again, imbalance, by purposely introducing even, you know, and knowing that when I do this, I'm probably going to see stuff going a little bit haywire out here, is because so often the first step to that purposeful growth, and not just that, but for our purposes here, is introduce imbalance. Your system goes a little bit haywire. Then as you persist in holding this, of course, guess what happens to this? This is a big mess, but anyhow, guess what happens to this? It comes up to here, and now balance is restored. And as soon as that happens, guess what? Now we're going to move up to here. Introduce it again. As you maintain that, this goes like this. Balance is restored. And that's really the way we grow. The decisions, the actions are taken in the non-physical. We notice that turbulence of change, the words of polite words I would use out here, but as you hold fast in the internal, out here will come into line, everything starts to flow, and then what's the next thing you do? Do it again. Grow, 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 because we're always in the process of growth.
Well, that just changes everything. That was a really neat way of looking at it. And I know for me, that was often a question I had, is when I would change, I would start a new practice of some type, and that was supposed to introduce peace and stillness and all this cool stuff. It actually appeared that things got worse in my physical world. And now I see that all that is just a byproduct of the changes that are happening.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Share. We're all in this together. See you on